Hi, I'm Brian Moran, founder of Government CIO. Welcome to Government CIO Magazine.
Hello, I am Vanessa and welcome to Government CIO Magazine. Today we are speaking with Steph Warren, the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for Information and Technology at the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Great question. The VA actually has a long tradition of innovation. If you go back to the VISTA system that we use, it's a world-class healthcare delivery system, that was actually deployed at the grassroots. So the department has a long history of innovation. What we've done in the last 2 years is we've added some structure to it. So if you go out to our website, www.va.gov/VAI2, you'll find a website that we have up that actually gives an update of all the innovation competitions we have underway, all projects we're funding, and also announcements of new projects coming. So we've added structure to a tradition that we already have at the VA. Great question. We have a couple things that I'd like to highlight. First one is telehealth, where we're actually bringing care out into highly rural areas so our veterans don't need to travel long distance to our medical centers or clinics. Second one is we're deploying self-help apps out on the mobile devices so veterans can assist themselves with pointers in terms of where they need to go or where they need to go for assistance. And probably one that doesn't come to mind, not from a technology standpoint, we've changed the way we do development at the VA. So this past fiscal year, we delivered on 89% of our milestones for delivering customer-facing functionality. So it's not just technologies, it's innovating in how we do things. So we tried something a little bit different. Instead of the classic go bring in a bunch of vendors to sit down and do market research or have folks go out and look to see what's out there, we've actually applied crowdsourcing to our innovation programs. So we reach out to our employees, and there's 380,000 of them. So it's a great pool of folks, and ask these individuals, our highly technical, qualified, and experienced staff, how would you approach this? What are some ideas that you believe will help solve some of these larger problems that we haven't thought about? And we've been surprised by the wonderful suggestions that have come back. And that's why I gave that website at the beginning. If you go look, large number of projects, innovative technologies and approaches to care delivery or service delivery that we're implementing as a result of that. So we have a built-in advantage, I think, to many of the cabinet level departments. We're centralized. So we have the opportunity of not having to deal with multiple parts of the department buying their own thing. So we're already starting out with, when we buy items that we need, we're already picking, or we're competing for what's the best ones we need to go with. So at that point, we are turning to something called a TRM, a technical reference manual, where we're actually defining what are the things that we need, going out to the marketplace, and then when the folks win the competition, that's what we stick with for 3 to 5 years. So it allows us to, if you will, draw upon the value of large buys for commodity items and drive the prices down, but still getting quality tools and technologies that the department can use. So innovations that we're seeing and using that allow us to make our workforce more mobile. I would say the tools that are available today in terms of mobile devices that have the same resolution that computer monitors had on just a couple of years ago. The ability of virtualizing the desktop, what you actually use at work normally, and being able to bring it to your home computer without leaving the information behind. The large pipes that are being put in place so you have high bandwidth movement of information. So a lot of things that are taking place in the consumer market that directly translate over into what we need to provide as an enterprise IT organization to our workforce. So I would say this one I'm going to come at a little bit sideways. I really couldn't pick a particular social media network or technology. I think the value that we're getting is it's breaking the closed shop mentality. So the idea that you can communicate, not can, but should and must communicate with folks outside your work unit. So sharing information about what you're doing or what problems you're seeing and drawing upon knowledge and skill set and experiences from across your organization or other organizations to make sure you bring the best solution to the table. So from an information protection standpoint, there's a lot of interesting technologies that are coming to the table. Most of it deals with the ability of having awareness of what's taking place in your network. IPv6 is great from a control standpoint. The Einstein program out of Homeland Security in terms of allowing us to be able to segment down and starting to observe what's happening and having the computational ability to process large volumes of information and saying, that's a needle we should be worried about. So that's from a large standpoint. Probably the one that we don't talk about enough is MDMs, or mobile device management tools. So we now can support different platforms, whether it's Android-based or iOS or BlackBerry or a multitude of devices within the same framework, and to be able to control what software can you use on the device, what information can you use on the device, such that if an employee has an assigned device and they put Angry Birds on it and it's contrary to our policies, well, when they hook up to us, we blow Angry Birds away and they can keep doing their work. So the ability of allowing them to use the tools but putting the controls in place to make sure we don't have information leakage. And if by chance the device gets stolen, we can turn it into a brick. So all it's really good for is, if you will, a bookend or a boat anchor. So I'm going to hit this one again from a side angle. If we focus on just innovation and innovative technologies, we fall into the pitfall of just using new technology in old business processes. So all you're doing is old things or less efficient things quicker. So the thing that I'm not sure folks focus on as much as they should is re-engineer your business process. It will bring more value to you than any single technology you can deploy. And then as you figure out what's the best way to do things, innovative technologies will allow you to do it even better. So that's from a process standpoint, and the department is very focused on changing the way we do benefits delivery, improving the way we do health delivery, even though we have an awesome record on that already. But how do we look at the way we do care, look at the way we do benefits determination delivery, change the way we do it, and then put technology on it to enable it even better. So that's from a process standpoint. We're very vested in cloud in terms of how do you start moving things out of fixed infrastructure. And I think an area of innovation that the marketplace is starting to see is the level of virtualization and abstraction you need to get to isn't where it needs to be to get the best value out. So we virtualize processors. We've started to virtualize memory. We haven't quite figured out how to virtualize storage, but how do you take all of that such that you really don't care about the physical infrastructure, but how do you bring it in and turn it on and off? Amazon's doing a great job of that. Google's doing a great job of that. In the federal government, if we're going to keep plants, we need to figure out how we're doing it, or we need to go out to them and use the folks who know how to do it. The majority of IT shops, not just in the federal government, but outside the federal government, they're hitting in the 30-some%. The high performers are sitting 40 and above. Mm-hmm. But the fact that in this past fiscal year, for 260 deliverables, and so at the VA, when we talk about deliverables, we're not talking about documents. So we're talking about customer-facing functionality. So for 89% of the things that we committed to at the start, we delivered on schedule. So the capability was delivered, which directly impacts service delivery or health delivery to our veterans. And that's just key for us. And we're not talking about efforts that have been underway for years. We run on 6-month or less cycles. So we're looking at a high delivery rate of getting solutions out. It's agile. It's agile delivery. It's breaking down the bureaucratic structures that exist. I mean, from an organizational standpoint, one of the things that we did last year, and it was one of the things that pretty much kick-started us into this, is we no longer have a hierarchical development organization. What we've done is we've staffed the project leads, and they sit in the classic, I have a boss and I work for the boss full time, and that's how the org chart looks. But the project teams come from a competency organization. So we move individuals in and out of project teams based upon need and competence. So we have this ability of getting the 80% utilization of staff. And that's probably as best as you can do if you take into consideration leave, sickness, and training. So we're able to start driving to the point where we know we're maximizing utilization of our staff. Actually, it's made it easier because if you look at the way we manage, the way that the classic project organization works in the federal government is you have a PM, right? And the PM has 2 responsibilities and they compete with each other. I got to deliver no matter what, but I have to make sure I take care of my workforce in terms of training and performance feedback. And you know, for projects that have strong PMs on it, that second mission fails.
Oh, absolutely.
And for the caring and compassionate leader who really cares about their person, there are all kinds of reasons why the project doesn't deliver. So what we've done is the employees are assigned to an organization, and their supervisor of record only cares about them, their training, and their ability to succeed in their day-to-day job. And they're assigned into a PM organization, and that PM's focus is deliver, 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 deliver. So we actually have a supervisor who can care about the training level and the skill level and the competency level of the employee whilst having somebody who drives to success. And so to be able to move the employees from project to project to meet the emergent need, we can get a utilization rate that allows us to deliver. So that's a key piece, which is the organizational bit. The focus on chunks of delivery, it's 6 months or less. If you can't deliver in 6 months, we don't start. It's the focus on making sure there's an IPT in existence for every project. So you can't build it and then the security guys at the end say, sorry, you forgot. Or you can't build it and the ops folks at the end go, you mean I need to support that? All those folks are at the beginning. We have the acquisition folks at the beginning, we have the legal folks at the beginning, and we have the customer all the way through. So they can't come in and say, this is what I want you to do. Disengage for 4 months, 5 months, and then come back at the end and say, well, that's not really what I meant. So they play all the way. And there's about 5 or 6 other key things that allow us to hit that 89%. It's more than just policy and guidance and doing things in an agile methodology. It's retooling the organization. And so we talk about technologies a lot, but the innovation that we're bringing to bear in a government setting is, how do you do this in a way that sets the standard for everybody else? And I'd say that's probably the key innovation. I mean, that allows us to get to telehealth. It allows us to get to the major initiative we have underway of developing an open source community to support an electronic health record. Instead of just buying systems from folks, how do we apply crowdsourcing to replacing our crown jewel, if you will? Right? This healthcare system, the application that we use, the VISTA system, is best in class. So how do we keep it best in class, but draw upon the skill set and the knowledge of the folks who helped develop it and who have a lot of interest in it? There are many countries whose healthcare system is built on the VISTA tool. So it's not just in the U.S., it's not just the VA. The Indian Health Service uses it. Norway uses it. Many countries use it as their system. So now let's work together collaboratively and grow it further. So I'd say those are key things that we're doing here. And I could go on for a long time, but those are probably key.